Hello, this is Weekend Handicapper from weekendhandicapper.com. Today we're going to talk about how to handicap an off track or a muddy track. This is springtime as I record this video, and then this year's Kentucky Derby, 2018 Kentucky Derby, was run on a sloppy track. So I thought I want to make this video in case you encounter, whenever you encounter an off track. And an off track means like muddy or sloppy conditions. And you'll see that on the left hand side of your program or your past performances, where it indicates that muddy or sloppy or what the condition of today's race is. So if you're at the track, if you're playing the track it's been raining and now it's mud or slop, here's some tips that might help you out. One of the best ways to do any kind of handicapping, no matter what surface, no matter if they're trying something for the first time, is see, there's nothing in my book that beats or trumps past experience, past performance on that kind of thing. So the first thing you want to do is look on the left-hand side of your program or past performances and see if that horse has ran on a muddy track, a sloppy track, and then skim or scan to the right of that, the running lines, and see how well the horse did in that particular race on that track condition of that day. Did it finish in the top three? If so, or even in the top four, but definitely top three, then okay, it probably can handle the slop or the mud fairly well. Another way to do it is, or in addition to, or another angle, another thing you want to look for is on the right hand side of the program or past performances. And it depends on what you use. If you use daily racing form, the Tomlinson ratings, and that's basically each horse gets a rating on how well they do on an off track, on a muddy track. In Tomlinson numbers, you want to look for 320 or above or greater. If you are looking at a horse that has never raced on a sloppy track, never had the, not chance, but just it never happened. There's always been a fast track or firm turf. And now it's trying to run on a sloppy track for the first time. Well, look at those Tomlinson ratings. If that's numbers 320 or greater, then it probably will do okay on the track, on that type of track. So you want to look for those horses in the Tomlinson ratings that have a 320 or higher. And then that might be a pretty good contender if you don't have the past performance or that horse running on that particular kind of track. It's never done that before. Look to your Tomlinson ratings. Or if it has had experience doing that, use that as in addition. Now, if you use Brisnet, if you play on Twinspires.com or KeenelandSelect.com, if that's your ADW, that means Advanced Deposit Wagering, so basically playing online. If you use one of those and use their Brisnet past performances, you want to look to the right, over on the right-hand side again, at the mud stats. And those mud stats, if that's 10% on Brisnet, is average. So that means, okay, the horse probably do okay or won't negate or be a negative. But if you see an 18% or higher, that's really good. That's above average, and that probably means, based on that horse's pedigree, it's probably going to do really well or seem to like or handle the slop or the mud fairly well. So that would be another positive for that horse that you might want to include. So look first for past performance if that horse ran on an off track. You'll see that on the left. You'll see whether or not the track that day was muddy or sloppy. Then scan to the right. On the right-hand side of your program of past performances, if it's daily racing form, DRF, you'll see the Tomlinson ratings, 320 or higher. You got yourself a horse that probably will do okay on an off track. Or if you use Brisnet past performances, mud stats 18% or higher, that would be pretty good. But if it's above 10% on Brisnet, then it should be okay. It just might not be a standout. Now, to me, like this year's Kentucky Derby, most of those horses seem like they would probably don't mind the sloppy track, and it seemed pretty formful. There was no shockers due to the rain and due to the mud. Now there was one, Mendelssohn, and they were saying this before the race even started, that he's never been on a track like that, been on an off track, so we didn't know how well he's going to do when they come out before the race or in the post parade leading up to the Derby. It was acting up, so maybe it didn't like the rain, because I think it finished last, if I'm not mistaken. So I can't blame that. Maybe it was the mud or the off track, but you just want to look, and to me it's not. I looked at other factors. If the horse does nothing else but has a great percentage or pedigree to like the slop, I'm not going to bump it up just on that one factor alone. But if it's got these other factors plus that Tomlinson rating of 320 or above, or Brisnet mud stats 18% or above, then that's just another reason to like that horse. So past performances, see how well, hopefully in the top 3 or 4, that horse has ran on an off track. If you don't have that to go on, look, it depends on which past performances you use. Tomlinson rating 320 or higher, or Brisnet mud stats 18% or higher. Hopefully this will help you if you ever play an off track or are forced to play like Derby Day. We live in a great day and age where we don't have to pick. If it's raining at Churchill Downs or Belmont Park and you got a muddy, sloppy track, well, I can easily say, forget that, I'm not going to play that. I'm going to play Santa Anita or Gulfstream Park where it's not fast and firm. So, but I'm saying on big race days like we just had in the Kentucky Derby, if you're forced to play an off track, then that might give you some advantages to handicap fairly well with those conditions. So if you hadn't already, I'd appreciate if you subscribe to this YouTube channel so you can get all the latest tutorials, tips, and advice on how to win at this wonderful, hard, challenging game of thoroughbred horse racing and thoroughbred handicapping. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook. We're on Facebook too at Weekend Handicapper. Check out weekendhandicapper.com for the latest articles and picks and tutorials as well. So until next time, if you play an off track, mud or slop, happy handicapping and smart wagering. Go ahead and hit subscribe.